What if I told you that the serpent in the story of Adam and Eve wasn't really a serpent at all? You might think you know this ancient tale inside and out, but what if there's more to it than meets the eye? Let's unravel the mystery together, because the truth might be more intriguing than you ever imagined. The story of Adam and Eve is one of the most well-known in the Bible, with the serpent often seen as a sly, deceitful creature tempting humanity into sin. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the serpent isn't just a snake, but something far more complex? To understand this better, we need to go back to the original Hebrew text of Genesis. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 1, the serpent is introduced with the Hebrew word Nahash. Most English translations of the Bible simply translate Nahash as serpent or snake. But Hebrew is a nuanced language, and Nahash might mean more than just a slithering reptile. While Nahash can mean serpent, it can also refer to someone who practices divination or has supernatural knowledge. This opens up a whole new way of looking at the serpent's identity. Maybe the serpent wasn't a literal snake, but a being with deeper wisdom or even mystical powers. Over the years, scholars have debated the true nature of the serpent. Some believe Nahash is a metaphor for chaos or a rebellious divine being. Others think the serpent wasn't a snake at all, but rather a symbolic figure, perhaps a fallen angel or even a manifestation of Satan. One fascinating idea is that the serpent represents a divine rebel, similar to Prometheus from Greek mythology, who defied the gods and brought knowledge to humanity. Seen this way, the serpent isn't just a deceiver, but a complex figure who plays the dual role of tempter and enlightener. Some scholars even suggest that the serpent could have been a divine being, perhaps a lesser god or demigod. This idea fits with ancient myths from the Near East, where serpents were often symbols of wisdom and immortality. In various cultures, serpents were respected as powerful, wise, and sometimes even benevolent creatures. In ancient Mesopotamian mythology, for instance, the god Ningishzida, associated with vegetation and the underworld, was often depicted as a serpent. Similarly, in Egyptian mythology, the cobra symbolized the goddess Wadjet, representing protection and royal authority. If we think of the serpent in Genesis as a divine being, we can see it as a figure with deep wisdom and a special relationship with the divine. In this light, the serpent's temptation of Eve wasn't just an act of deceit, but a moment filled with divine knowledge and human free will. Another angle to consider is that the serpent could represent chaos and disorder. In many ancient cultures, serpents were seen as symbols of chaos, challenging divine order and testing human obedience. The serpent's role in leading Adam and Eve to disobey God can be seen as introducing chaos into the peaceful Garden of Eden. Ancient myths often depict serpents as embodiments of chaos. For example, in Babylonian mythology, Tiamat, a chaos monster often described as a serpent or dragon, represents the chaotic forces that the god Marduk must overcome to create the world. Similarly, in Norse mythology, the Midgard serpent Jormungandr threatens the world's order. If we apply this idea to the Genesis story, the serpent can be seen as an agent of chaos, testing the limits of human obedience and divine order. The serpent's actions in Genesis could be part of a larger cosmic conflict, emphasizing the tension between stability and chaos in human life. But what if the serpent is even more than that? A metaphor for the inner conflict between following God's commands and the desire for forbidden knowledge. This interpretation focuses on the moral and philosophical aspects of the story, suggesting that the serpent represents the human urge to seek knowledge and push against divine boundaries. From this perspective, the serpent symbolizes human curiosity and the desire for self-determination. Eating the forbidden fruit isn't just disobedience. It's a powerful statement about human nature and the quest for understanding. The serpent becomes a representation of the internal struggle we all face, the choice between following the rules and exploring the unknown. This metaphorical interpretation aligns with various philosophical and literary traditions that explore the theme of forbidden knowledge. For example, in John Milton's Paradise Lost, the serpent, representing Satan, tempts Eve by appealing to her desire for wisdom and autonomy. Similarly, the story of Prometheus, who defies the gods to bring fire, and thus knowledge to humanity, echoes the themes of defiance and enlightenment. So what happens when we see the serpent as more than just a literal snake? It changes the entire understanding of the Genesis story. If the serpent is a divine rebel or a symbol of chaos, the narrative becomes richer and more complex. It's not just a tale of deception, but a story of divine-human interaction, the search for knowledge, and the battle between order and chaos. With this new perspective, let's rethink the story of Adam and Eve. Instead of viewing the serpent as just a trickster, we can see it as a catalyst for humanity's journey toward knowledge and self-awareness. Eating the forbidden fruit marks a crucial moment in human history. The shift from innocence to understanding, from blind obedience to conscious choice. This reinterpretation has big implications for how we think about theology. It challenges the traditional view of the serpent as purely evil and invites us to consider a more nuanced character. It also raises questions about the nature of temptation and the role of divine beings in human affairs. Was the serpent's temptation a necessary part of God's plan for humanity? Was seeking knowledge an inevitable and essential step in our development? For modern readers, this new understanding of the serpent can deepen their faith and enrich their appreciation of biblical stories. It encourages us to approach the Bible with an open mind, recognizing the complexity and depth of its stories. It also highlights the importance of studying the original languages and cultural contexts to fully grasp the meanings behind these ancient texts. Let's take another look at some key verses from Genesis. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Introduction of the serpent. Now the serpent was more crafty than any other beast of the field that the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God actually say, 'You shall not eat of any tree in the garden'?" Here, the term crafty, in Hebrew aram, suggests intelligence and shrewdness. If we consider Nahash as a divine or semi-divine being, this intelligence could imply a deeper understanding of divine matters, positioning the serpent as a knowledgeable figure rather than a simple deceiver. Genesis chapter 3, verses 4 to 5. The serpent's temptation. But the serpent said to the woman, "You will not surely die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The serpent's promise of enlightenment aligns with the idea of a divine rebel bringing knowledge to humanity. This passage could be seen as the serpent encouraging a pursuit of wisdom and self-awareness, challenging the established divine order for the sake of human growth. Seeing the serpent as more than just a simple snake unlocks new ways to interpret the Genesis story. Whether viewed as a divine rebel, an embodiment of chaos, or a symbol of our innate curiosity, the serpent brings a richer, more complex layer to the tale. It challenges us to think deeper about the intricacies of human nature and our relentless quest for understanding. Please like and subscribe for more videos.